What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about why I'm very worried about Watch Dogs Legion. Now, you could be saying, Alex, my God, you've been trying to be as positive as you can for Watch Dogs, and I would say thank you. You understand my point on this channel. You're right. I really do try and take an optimistic approach. I try and take a let's look at everything from as bright of a side as we can. That's just normally the kind of person I think I am. But that does not stop me from making these videos, and it seems like you guys always seem to like these videos where I kind of discuss both sides. I've done this for like Marvel's Avengers game, and I want to do this for Watch Dogs because you'll see as I start talking about it, I am excited. I'm pumped. I'm gonna get this game day one. I'm gonna support this game. All of the above, because I do understand that I feel like people that watch these videos are probably Watch Dogs fans and probably want the game to be good and are probably going to get it. I understand that. I also know there's people that watch these or also just think that Watch Dogs isn't very good. And you know what? I honestly understand that as well. Watch Dogs has always been a game in my mind about potential. I think it's a little bit better than like a prototype kind of. If you guys have watched some of the prototype videos I've made, I've always said that prototype 1 and 2, those games I love so much, or I love the idea because I think the potential for a prototype game is enormous, but what we've gotten from the games have been largely terrible. I think the first game is okay, maybe even good, but the second game I think is absolutely awful, but the potential is what gets me excited. For Watch Dogs, it's kind of like that, but I think the game actually does give you stuff. The first game was a disappointment, but it wasn't god-awful, right? There were things there. And the second game, were there a lot of problems, especially story and character-wise? Yeah, but the fun level that I personally had playing with Tyler, like cooperatively, I loved it. I really, really did. So I would say, again, they tried to capture what the potential of the games were, and they did it okay. Again, I think the potential always, with Watch Dogs, has outweighed what they can actually give us. There's always more to kind of reach for the potential than what we've been given. But with that being said, again, coming from a positive side of things, I think Watch Dogs 2 took a lot of steps. Now, with Watch Dogs Legion, we've talked about it, and I'm not going to take back any of the positive things I've said about this game because I still do believe in a lot of this game. From the gameplay that we've seen, now yes, the gameplay is pretty old, and we haven't seen this game in a long time, and ultimately, that's probably, if not the biggest thing, probably the second biggest thing that worries me is the lack of communication, which we're seeing a lot now, right? Sony has done, I would say, a terrible job at communicating the PS5, The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima. They've done awful. They've really done awful ever since Sean Layden left. But Ubisoft for Skull and Bones. What happened? Watch Dogs, why aren't you showing it? Is it going to come out literally within a few weeks of Assassin's Creed? There's a lot of mistakes, I think, to be had in the next coming months for a game like this. So again, are there positives here? Absolutely. And we talked about it in the last video, right? Like things that I like about it, or like things that I think are going in a positive direction. I love the idea of switching characters. Now, again, they have to be fulfilled characters. They have to have a story. You have to really feel like they're all different, and because they're only parts of 3 classes, are you going to end up playing as characters that are pretty much the exact same thing with a different skin and like voice? Yeah, probably. And again, like that's the worrisome part. So there are, even in what we've seen of this game, again, I want to remain positive, but we've seen some things. A lot of it does look solid. We haven't seen too much of it, though. I would like to see more, especially as we get closer to the game. I really want them to show off this game a little bit more. And again, that's a little worrisome. In general, every game has its own situation. And we've talked about on this channel, right? There's some games that, for whatever reason, the trust has been built up with the developer or the publisher, and you don't really need to see as much. Or sometimes with single-player games, right, you don't want to show too much. Again, every single game is different. I always go to like even games like God of War or like Uncharted or The Last of Us. In retrospect and hindsight and all those words, we really didn't see all that much about those games going in, right? They kept a lot of it hidden. Why? Because they have our trust, again, for whatever reason. And every developer and every publisher has that to some degree, right? Some have it more than others. Some have to show more of the game than others. For Watch Dogs, I feel like it is that one. It's you need to show more because it's not a game that's earned the trust of the people yet, where you don't need to show it. Plus, also, it's an open, again, and the kind kind of game matters too. So this is an open world game, right? It also has some multiplayer aspects. It's a story game, but you can do there's like random quests and stuff like that would happen, right? There's all those different things. That's a kind of game that you kind of need to show how the mechanics work. Now, yeah, you could say, well, they did that, right? Because they talked about the dynamic, how you could play as like quote unquote anybody, even though obviously it's not everybody, but you could play as like all these people. That is like part one. I feel like they need to show us more of it. But again, I go back to the biggest thing that worries me about this game has been, and it still is, the communication. What we've gotten has been solid, and I think it's a good basis for a game. And for this game, I think it's a strong basis, but we need more. And so, firstly, we haven't seen this game in a long, long time. That's bad. Also, you have the delays. This game was supposed to come out in 2019 in November. It was then delayed till March. Then it was delayed basically indefinitely, although it's fall of 2020, but you don't have a date. So I would honestly call it indefinite because there's no guarantee it comes out this fall. Now, about a week and a half ago on this channel, we talked about a leak that suggests that Watch Dogs could be a day one next-gen title. Now, it would also be current-gen, but like say the day that, so PS5 releases November 10th, let's say. That would be the day Watch Dogs Legion comes out, and it would be on next gen. Again, that's good, but where's the communication there? How did a game go from releasing November of 2019 to November of 2020 and also now having a next-gen version, which, by the way, there's no way the game could have been made for next-gen because it was supposed to come out last year. It was supposed to come out a year before next-gen release, so how could it have been made for next-gen? Well, the answer is it wasn't. It was made for current-gen. It was delayed. Must have been delayed pretty badly. And again, my whole theory has always been, well, maybe they delayed it till March, and then they looked at it and they said, well, we need a couple more months to polish, and also we could be taking all of this time to make a next-gen version, right? Like an enhanced edition, a Game of the Year edition, whatever you want to call it. We could be making a next-gen version with it. So instead of delaying it till like May, which maybe it could have came out this month, maybe it could come out next month, right? Instead of doing that, they push it again, almost a full year, and they say, okay, well, that gives the team enough time to make sure the current gen version is done, and it also gives them enough time to have next gen versions to release the same day so we can sell more copies. That's my theory. It's not confirmed, but I honestly I would tell you, I feel like that's right. I feel like that's literally what happened. Is that necessarily bad? No. I would actually say it's not all that bad. You know what's bad about it, though, is the communication that they haven't taught. Now, can some things be talked about? No. Some things you have to keep hidden. But I just feel like the lack of talk about this game is worrying. And I get it. Watch Dogs maybe has always been that game, and it's gone through a lot of problems. But when you look at this game, again, I feel like I just made a video talking about a different game that has like the same kind of problems with this. This is supposed to be, I think it was like Little Hope. This is the redemption for Watch Dogs. You know, Watch Dogs 1 was very divisive. Watch Dogs 2 was better, but less people played it. People literally didn't buy it because they were so they felt betrayed. That was a huge story that was running around when Watch Dogs 2 came out, that so many people felt that, you know, Watch Dogs 1 was such a letdown, they didn't get 2. And I think 2 is a better game. I think a lot of people may say Watch Dogs 2 is a better game, but less people bought it. So what do you have to do with this game, Watch Dogs 3? Well, you have to make it better, and you have to really promote it and talk about it. And they're not really doing either. Obviously they're going to try to make it a better game, and they've shown, again, to extents some of that. But I want more. Or ultimately, again, like I don't know how people are going to take this video. Maybe some people are going to say you're being too harsh on it, and like you've always been positive and now you're negative. Again, I'm keeping the positive parts. I like what I've seen. I'm getting it day one. I'm going to support it. So like I'm going to give them my money, right? So like that should just be stored in everybody's head. All I want is this game to be good, but I think it's also fair to be able to point out when this kind of stuff happens. And I'm going to do it for any game that goes through this situation, and I have done it, and that's honestly, I feel, a big part of me and a big part of this channel is to be open with you guys and be able to say, you know, I try to be optimistic, I try to be positive on basically everything, any game, any movie. All I want is for them to be the best they can be, and sometimes I get maybe overly critical or just critical in general because I want it to be good, right? All I want are these things to be good. So I've liked what I've seen. To be honest with you, what I've seen is enough for me to give them the money and trust them. Now, am I doing it because of this channel? Am I doing it because I did enjoy the multiplayer of Watch Dogs 2? Yeah, I wouldn't say specifically because the 9-minute footage that we got of Legion back at that E3, is that enough to pre-order this game? I haven't pre-ordered it, but is that enough to like guarantee that you're getting it day one? Probably not. I'm doing it with that and then with a couple other things attached, right? With that being said, though, I think it's a good starting point. It's just, again, what worries me about this game is that's it. We haven't gotten anything since then. There's been nothing. And ever since, not only that, again, to wrap it up, not only has there not been more gameplay, and not just gameplay, but explanations of how things work. Again, it's an open world game, so there's dynamics. It's the same problem I have with Ghost of Tsushima. The game's releasing in like 2-3 months. They haven't really talked about how the world is going to work. We haven't seen like a 10-minute developer diary, right, where they go in, they play the game, they show you, oh, here's the things going on in the world, here's some customization, here's this, here's that. I feel like that's important with open world games because there's how does the game actually operate? Is it going to work? Like, what can you do in this game? What are all the features? I think it's important to show that for, I'd say, most open world games. Again, some games may get the benefit of the doubt. Like if The Witcher 4 comes out, right? If that comes out after Cyberpunk, I don't think they have to show all that much about Witcher 4 because you know what to expect and you also know it's going to be a masterpiece, right? They've earned your trust. You know how CD Projekt Red works, right? But Ubisoft, again, yeah, you could say, well, we know how Watch Dogs work because we've played 1 and 2. But this game is supposed to be better. This game may try to fix a lot of the flaws of previous games. And so by doing that, you need to show us that. You need to talk about that. And they really haven't done that. So not only have they not done that, but ever since we got that first gameplay, all they've done is delay the game. All they've done is delay the game and not talk about it. And when you put those two things together, you know, it's happened before with games, and again, I always try and give them the benefit of the doubt, but these are not good signs. These are like warning signs, and I feel like, to kind of give like an ominous prediction, I do feel like when we get this game, there are going to be a lot of problems. I really do. I think it's going to be if you want my honest prediction, I feel like this game is going to be a very flawed game. It's going to have a lot of problems that probably won't save Watch Dogs, but will be enjoyable for those that are like really willing to give it a chance. That's the kind of game I'm picturing with 3. Now, I have that expectation going in, so maybe it'll surprise me, maybe it'll be better than that, right? That's what I'm hoping, but that's what I'm thinking. And I feel like, again, because of these warning signs, that's why I think that if we had more communication, if we saw more of this game, I would probably be higher on it, and I am high on it, but I'm not like through the roof, like going outside promoting it, right? And ultimately, that's what I want to do with any game. So, guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with my worries? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Are you guys worried about this game? Are you guys, ready for this game and positive about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I've tried to do a Watch Dogs video every week and a half, 2 weeks. I'll be continuing that. Obviously, if any breaking news Watch Dogs related, or we see gameplay, or Ubisoft does an event online, all that kind of stuff, we'll definitely cover it, right? We'll definitely cover Watch Dogs leading up to it and when it releases. So definitely, if you guys have liked my Watch Dogs coverage, we'll be continuing that over the coming months, okay? Thank you so much for watching, guys. I greatly appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.